Good afternoon, my friends. Thank you for tuning in to 5 Minutes with Luke. Today is lesson number 46, and we are in Luke chapter 15, and we've been looking at the parables that Jesus teaches in verse 15, recorded for us in Luke 15, where he is addressing attitudes toward the lost. If you remember verses 1 and 2, there were scribes and Pharisees that exhibited, or they were grumbling because Jesus was spending time with those they considered unworthy, with those who were sinners. And so Jesus, in an effort to teach them, but especially his disciples, and then us through inspiration, what exactly is heaven's attitude about lost souls? And what should be our attitude about lost souls? And of course, as you understand the context, I think it's important here to remind ourselves that as you consider the context, you'll notice that he's talking to Jews about those of their own countrymen that they would consider unworthy. And so I believe through implication, we can understand or we can apply that lesson to how we would feel toward those who have already become Christians and become lost. But nevertheless, the attitude toward lost souls is the key here. So let's look at the next parable, the second parable in this chapter, Luke verses 15, verses 8, 9, and 10. Let's look at them and then make some observations for today. Verse 8, and what woman having 10 silver coins, if she loses one coin, does not light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? And when she has found it, she calls her friends and neighbors together, saying, rejoice with me, for I have found the piece which I lost. Likewise, I say to you, there is joy in the presence of the angels over one sinner who repents. Now, let's go back and take a look at that first verse, verse 8. Having 10 silver coins. I want you to think for just a minute. There's an image of very likely what that coin may have looked like. That was one of the Roman coins of the day. It was a drachma, and it was worth about 65 cents in our monetary understanding. So 10 of them would have been about $6.50. Now, this woman had these. You have to understand this was a time when most people were poor, and these silver coins very likely represented her livelihood, and she had those put in a safe place. That was the money in our terms with which she would pay the rent, with which she would pay the power bill, with which she would buy the groceries, the necessary food. It wasn't money put up for a vacation. It was something that was her life, her livelihood. So I think it's very important that we understand that. And while we might not think it's very much, that one silver coin, you think about if you lost a paycheck. If you and unfortunately right now that's something with which many people can relate. You lost money that you'd put aside to buy groceries or to buy your children school clothes with school coming up here before too awfully long. Money you had put up to you've been saving for your children to go to Maywood to Christian camp, but you went to get it and it's gone. It's lost. So now you're in a panic. So I want you to get the mindset here. Jesus teaches by relating a physical situation that everybody around who is listening can understand. And if you don't get that in your mind, you don't truly understand. Now, when I look at that verse, she has 10 coins. She loses one of them. Let me take you back to when we talked about the lost sheep. That's the very same Greek word, loses. That word is not our word lose in our English language sometimes has a very casual connotation or casual meaning. Well, I lost my keys. Now, that might not create panic in me unless it could in certain instances, but this word carries the panic with it, that word lose, because it has the idea of destroyed. If I don't find it, there's a loss involved. There's something serious involved. There's destruction involved. So it's a big deal. So I want to, with our time passing here, and so we're going to learn this parable a little bit piece at a time, so you'll have to watch all of them together, I suppose. But I want you to understand that when we read she lost a coin, she had 10 of them and she lost one, that was a big deal. So, takeaway for today, losing your soul is a big deal. A lost soul is the biggest deal. So I hope you'll read verses 8 through 10 and tune in again, Lord willing, so that we can continue this study. Thank you for listening.